I'm going to share some fun, albeit maybe some of them cringy stories from fight week, because I realize what happens a lot of the time, especially for this camp, because I went into sort of my monk mode where I don't share and I just kind of isolate myself. You guys see the basic things that happen. Maybe you see some fight press conference things, a couple other little media things we do, and you see me fight. And that's it. You're like, oh, Gabriel won his fight. Awesome. But you don't hear about all the things behind the scenes that are happening. So I'm going to share something with you because this camp was full of turbulence. It was full of ridiculousness, and it's nice to hear that this still happens to people like me. It's not something where you're having your first fight and there's all these wild things happening. You're like, oh, this is only me, and because it's only me who's suffering from this, it means it's bad sign and I'm going to lose. I just had a Zoom private with somebody and we were talking about how their opponent's brothers were trying to intimidate them before the fight. Like, there's lots of wild things that happen. So we're going to touch on all that because it's the behind the scenes experience, which you don't normally get. And I want to take a moment, thank XMartial for being a big sponsor of this channel. There are those fight gloves. Look at how skinny those fight gloves are. It's ridiculous. Like, that's it. They're like paper. Anyway, XMartial, supporting this channel. Amazing, fantastic gear. I have a link down there. And with my promo code, Gabriel Varga, you can save yourself 10%. Be sure to check them out. Just nothing but great feedback from people who actually go and purchase some of their fantastic apparel and all the other things they offer. So let's start off and let's say very first that I have enjoyed fighting for karate combat. I also think the new president is doing a very good job mixing it up. Initially, it was like, oh, karate combat. They have good variety of, the pit, different rule set, but I like how he's going, okay, the rule set didn't really make sense, and there's a little bit more excitement being brought to it now that the rules have opened up. I like what he's doing, and I want to definitely let that be said, let that be heard. But at the same time, there's always ridiculousness within fight promotions where you go, man, I wish I didn't have to go through that. So let's start off and let's talk about scheduling a fight. It doesn't always go as easy as you think. And it was very important for me on this fight to have my brother there. My brother has been in my corner for many of my fights, but he's busy, not even in med school now. He's a resident as a doctor. So it's hard for him to get out. He couldn't make it for the last one, but this one I went, I really need you there. Is there any chance you can come? So I got the date from the fight promotion, Karate Combat. It said, look, you're going to be fighting on either the 7th of December or the 14th of December. So I relayed that to my brother. He's like, hey, you know what? I can make both of those. Then they said, okay, it's going to be the earlier of the two. Fight contract comes not close or not far away from the fight, but very close to the fight. And it says the 5th, like December 5th. So I messaged my brother really quick. He's like, oh, shoot, I'm going to be flying back from India. I'm going to be in London on the 3rd, but I'll come directly from London. A couple days later, we get a call and we say, oh, no, it's not on the 5th anymore. It's on the 19th, 2 weeks later. And now he's supposed to be back at work. He's supposed to be back in the hospital. He does me a massive favor and he contacts his supervisor and they say, yes, you may have the time off, which is a big deal. So that in itself was just difficult, getting the corner there that I really wanted. My brother comes out here to train with me a few days before so he can fly out with me. We're doing pad work, the belly pad shifts. I am using these gloves so I can get used to them in pad work. Somehow I catch his hip and this middle knuckle clangs off the hip bone. Oh my gosh, as soon as I hit it, I went, oh, something's wrong. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna tell you guys anything that's not true. I could not punch with this hand, even in the warm-up before the fight. We took a pool noodle so I could actually at least touch something, but I had to do it in these gloves. These were my black backstage gloves because they're so cushy and it didn't hurt my knuckles. As soon as I put on these gloves, and these are the ones I fought in, I couldn't even make a fist. It hurt so bad. Once I got into the fight and the adrenaline started going, then I'm sure I was making a full fist, but couldn't do it. pre-fight injuries. They're ridiculous. Now, just yesterday on my community that we have, which you can join if you want, it's the link down below, I was talking to the guys and I was saying, oh, sometimes during fight week, you spend a little bit too much time laying down. I was lying down on fight day, my back tweaked out when I got up, and I had to spend about 20 minutes rolling it out, doing all these stretches, which I shared with everybody in that community today, actually. And I had to stretch out for 20 minutes so that I could actually get to the venue and fight because it was so locked up. Things like that happen. You have to roll with it. On my way to Florida from Victoria, they lost my bag. What's in my bag? All the food that I take for the pre-fight or the pre-weigh-in, my sauna so I can cut weight, and so many other things. But being smart, I took my cup and I took my mouth guard in my carry-on bag. But still, very frustrating. You get there, you're like, shoot, I don't have any of the food that I need to stay well nutritioned, well cutting weight. So I just got to eat this local hotel food. Ooh, that's not good. That's not what you want. And these types of stories, they just go and go and go. Now you will notice that in the fight, yes, I got cut here, but I was also bleeding out of my nose. I knew I was going to bleed out of my nose if I even got touched. How did I know that? About 5 weeks ago, I went for sparring, and my sparring partner threw this kick that I have been on the receiving end of maybe never. It was a low kick that came up into an inverted round kick. Now, I've been on the receiving end of inverted round kicks, but never off a low kick first. It caught me right in the nose, and I felt a little click, and it just started leaking. Probably means I broke it. I did the rest of the rounds because it was in round one that happened. Now, for the last 4 weeks of training camp, every time I got touched, every training session I did that involved sparring, I was bleeding. So I went, yeah, you know what? On fight night, I'm going to have a bloody nose. What are you going to do? Suck it up, hope my nose doesn't get broken again, and fight through. And that's all you can really do. What was it? A good other story? Post-fight. Let's go post-fight. I got those little cuts. They weren't bad. They were just little things. And the nurse comes and says, oh, okay, yeah, we can stitch you up. We're not going to use anesthetic, but we can stitch you up. I've actually had this done before. I'm like, oh, it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant already having your skin pierced and having them go in and out. Even more so when you just finish fighting, you're not feeling good and your foot's throbbing and your left knuckle is really sore and my elbow from dropping down those elbows on them is throbbing. And I asked her, okay, well, can I have a Tylenol or an Advil or something like that? And she says, oh no, we're not allowed to give those to fighters. Well, like we're going to get addicted to Tylenol or Advil, taking them once after the fight. I was like, what the heck? I never take Advil or Tylenol. I think the last time I took it was probably when I fought Adam Chuck the second time for that belt. And he kicked me in the hip a lot and I was really sore. So I ended up taking some then, but I never take that stuff. Like, please just give me one. My foot is throbbing. My elbow's throbbing. I would love to minimize the pain. No, can't give it to you. So there are so many stories. There are other ones. I'm probably drawing a blank right now on all the other chaos that happened on fight week. But what do? You have to rally. And these types of unexpected events are always going to happen. They're always going to happen. They're going to occur. You can try and plan everything out. You can try and be prepared, but it's never going to play out as smooth as you want. And that's just part of the fight game. So I don't want to say be prepared for the worst, but understand it does not affect your performance in a massive way. Yes, I wish my left knuckle wasn't hurt. Yes, I wish my bag would have come earlier. Yes, I wish there wouldn't have been a bunch of drama before with flights and trying to get my brother there to corner me, not being stressed about, oh, who am I going to have in my corner this time? But still, you go, you take a breath, you get the win. That's what's important. And yeah, if you can do that, you can become a champion. You really can. This is sometimes more important than everything else. The body, the mindset, overtakes everything. You can have the strongest body in the world, a weak mind will leave you with an easy loss. We want to be out there, we want to be getting the wins. So I think that's all, guys. We have only, what are we, the 27th? 4 days left to jump on and get that special where you get my offense and defense course for $99. After that, everything's going to go back to regular pricing. They're going to disappear. So jump on that right now if it's something you're interested in. The defense course, people just love it. They say they learn so much, and it's such an important aspect of the fight game. The offense course is more catered to my style, learning what I feel is very important, how to develop your game, not to be exactly like me, but to be the best fighter that you can be. Those are great elements to bring in. So I appreciate you guys joining me today, and I will see you back here very soon for another video.